100 days after the war between the United States, Israel, and Iran began, the conflict has become one of the biggest challenges facing President Donald Trump. What started as a military operation overseas is now having significant political and economic consequences at home. Polls cited in the source suggest the war remains unpopular with American voters, with only 16% believing the United States is winning, and only 24% saying the conflict has made the country safer. The war began on February 28, 2026, when the United States and Israel launched a bombing campaign that killed Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei and several senior Iranian officials. The strike came while the United States was still engaged in indirect negotiations with Iran over its nuclear program. Critics argue that the administration did not build a public or congressional case for military action before launching the attack, making the sudden shift from diplomacy to war a controversial decision. The move also appeared to contrast with Trump's long-standing image as a leader who criticized previous Middle East interventions. Iran responded with missile and drone attacks and moved quickly to shut down the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most important energy shipping routes. The disruption had immediate consequences for global energy markets. Oil and gas prices surged, adding to inflation pressures and increasing costs for households. According to polling cited in the source, roughly 79% of voters believe the conflict has directly affected their cost of living. As a result, the war has increasingly become a pocketbook issue rather than simply a foreign policy debate. Although a truce was reached on April 6th, the conflict has not fully ended. A naval siege remains in place. And sporadic skirmishes continue in the Gulf. Maintaining military operations, naval deployments, and regional security commitments requires enormous resources. Supporters of increased defense spending argue that ongoing threats and military obligations justify a defense budget that has reached around $1.5 trillion. The political stakes are also rising. Analysts warn that if Republicans suffer major losses in the November midterm elections and Democrats regain control of Congress, Trump's legislative agenda could be blocked. The source also notes that such a scenario could open the door to impeachment efforts against the president. For now, Trump insists his focus remains on preventing Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. But with the war entering its next phase, the question is whether the current truce can lead to a lasting settlement or whether the conflict will continue to weigh on U.S. politics and the economy.